Now after this, what we have to do is we are going to learn about intersection types. Okay, intersection types. So we can actually combine multiple types into one. So we have created one interface here. You can see we have created one interface, right? So suppose similarly, if you want to create some interfaces, okay, and you want to combine them, you can easily do that. So for example, if I just have interface A and it's having name as string, okay, and suppose we have interface B which is a as which has age as number, right? We have created two different interfaces, and suppose in a particular form data I want name as this and age as this, right? That means I want to use both of them. So I'll just say let person equals A and B, and then you can easily define things here. Okay, you can easily define things here, right? Very easily, right? So you can see what I've done is here I have simply combined both of them, and I'm just said that name is Chris and age must be 22. If I just remove this, so you can see age must also be mandatory because I'm saying A and B, right? That's how it actually works. So intersection types, we are actually combining multiple types into one. We are actually combining multiple types into one, right? That's how it actually works. So now you can see it's totally fine. Acha, if I define one extra field, what would happen? If I say gender and let's make it as male, so you can see I'm getting an error because I haven't defined the interface of gender. So if you want to tackle this, suppose if you write any here, okay, if you write any here, you can see it's not working fine here. So if I write any like this, so you can see it's not working fine. Okay, so you actually have to define it there only. Okay, you have to define it in the interface only, then you can use it easily, right? So now let's continue with the next tools which we need. Okay, so first of all guys, we just now talked about a lot here. Okay, we just now talked about a lot. Now what we are going to do is we are going to understand some things about numbers and some operations. Okay, some operations very easily. Okay, so now I'm going to use some operations. So I'll just write numbers op operations. Okay, numbers operations, right? So here guys, we are going to say, first of all, I'm just going to define the sum operation. So I'll just say let sum equals, and I want to actually say sum would always be a number, it must not be anything else. So you can actually define an operation like this, that means always a sum would be like this. Similarly, you can define it for difference. So if I just paste the code for difference, you can easily perform the difference operation. Similarly, multiplication, similarly division, okay, similarly quotient. Okay, so it's similarly you can get the quotient, that means you divide this and you would get the quotient, right? And that's how you get the division. Now after this we have one more, that is the modulus. Okay, so we can easily use the modulus operation also, that is the remainder. So these are all the operations which we can easily use in with the numbers. There is no restriction, just like normal JavaScript we can easily use that. Similarly, we can use increment and decrement. I'm just saying we have a number and I'm just incrementing it to 6, and similarly I'm decrementing it to 9. Okay, very easily done. Now after this we have square root operations also. You can easily apply them. That means the result of the square root would always be a number. So you can see the result of this would always be a number, right? And now after this we can also use power also. Power would also support a number. That means result of this would always be a number, right? Now after this we have absolute value. For example, I have given -10, so absolute value of -10 is actually 10, right? So that's how the abstract works. You simply just convert it into a number. Suppose if it was a negative number, then also it would work properly. That means negative values can also be assigned to number, right? So now guys, we are going to continue with some more operations which we can perform. So we have some operations like round, floor and seal. Okay, so round, floor and seal. So it would actually give you round up, and then it would give you the floor value, then it would give you the seal value. Okay, so you can just perform them. And round up would be actually, if I just write 3.2, so it would actually give me 3. Okay, but seal would always give me the bigger value, right? And now after this we have some comparisons also. So you can always like now we are going to talk about some booleans. Okay, so booleans would be like if you are making some comparison, that means logical operators, so you would be expecting some boolean value, right? Is 10 greater than 5 or not? Whatever it is, it would return it here, right? Similarly, we are going to use different kind of logical operators also. So logical operators, you are just saying that this would be supposed true, this would be supposed true, true and true would be what, like that. Okay, right? That's how it actually works. So it would return true. Okay, so now that's how some operations can be easily done. You can take reference from that. Later on you can perform them differently, but yeah, that's the idea how exactly the operations would be performed. And yeah, it's pretty much same every time, but I repeated the things because I wanted to add things on your mind, okay, so that you now easily can identify where to put the time. Because in beginning, when I started this TypeScript, when I started learning TypeScript, I was pretty much confused. What is this? Where do we have to put the types? So always you have to always put the types here, and later on you can do operations on your own. It's just like normal JavaScript, right? So now guys, we are going to talk about the string operations. So string operations are like you would be having normal strings, then you would be also having concatenation. So let's talk about them. So first of all, you can see I've defined the string and then I have concatenated both of them. So it would actually concatenate the string, okay, very easily. And it's again, you can see string types, right? So now after this, we have one more thing, that is you can actually interpolate. That means you can just write the dollar sign and inside that you can write one more string. Okay, that's how it actually works. Okay, so yeah, it's totally fine. But yeah, if suppose it was a number and you are just saying it's a number, this is also fine because at the end it became a string only. That's how it actually works. Okay, and suppose if I just say as string, so you can actually see now I'm getting an issue because conversion of type number to string is not allowed. But suppose if I just make a string again, and suppose if I make it suppose if I make it USA, so you can actually see that it's totally fine. Okay, so you can actually add some mixture of your own thinking like that. Okay, now we are going to learn about some methods of strings. So similarly, suppose if you want to find the length of a string, so obviously it would be what, it would be actually the length like this, right? So you would be actually getting the length. The problem here is you cannot redeclare block scope. Okay, so actually there might be some reserved variable, so I would just first of all comment these out, and I think I have not used it somewhere. Okay, right. So I'll just say length one, that would be better. Okay, so there might be some reserved keyword for length, so that's why it's not working fine. Yes, you can see dot length. So length is a reserved keyword, right? That's why you can't declare it like this. But yeah, you can see length one, and it's containing some number value. Previously it was some string, and I have converted that string into number and now store into new variable, that is length one, right? That's how it actually works. Similarly, we have uppercase and lowercase operations also, which you would be having. So you're just saying that again it's a string, again it's a string. Okay, again it's a string, right? Now after this we have character add. So again we are just going to say that suppose you are wanting some character at index 0, so you would get h, which is again a string. Again you want to character code at 1, that means it would give you some unicode of value e. So if you want to find the unicode of this, you can find this and it would be a number, right? It would be a number. So this is it. Now again we have some string operations. So it would be like you might be finding this in JavaScript also. So if I want to get the substring from 4 to 9, you would get the substring, then you would get the slice, and you would get a str, again the substring old method. Okay, so now we are going to continue with the next part, that is index of. So index of operation is very same, so you might have seen this. So index of is, so it would give you number, so you would store it in number. Last index of would give you number, again you would be storing it in number, right? So these were some operations in string. I hope now the confusion is removed between string and number, where to use string, where to use number, and where to use other kind of types, right? So now we have covered string and numbers, and similarly you can learn about different methods, like you would be using string and numbers mostly everywhere, and also boolean. So you'd be using it in arrays or objects or wherever you like. So repetition is same. Okay, repetition is same, right? So now guys, we are going to talk about functions. So functions are very important. First of all, we are going to understand never type. Okay, first of all, we are going to understand the never type. What's exactly the never type? You might encounter this a lot of times. So never type is exactly when the function is suppose running infinite times. That means it's never returning something. It's just running infinite times. It's never stopping. It's never returning something. In that case, you actually return it as never. So for example, if I give you an example, you have a function which is running with an infinite while loop. That means this would run infinite times. That means you're just going to return the type of this as a never. Never simply means that it would never stop. Okay, that's how it actually works. So if you have an infinite function, you would define it as never, right? Now similarly, if you are throwing some kind of error, okay, throwing some kind of an error, if your function throws some kind of error, so you would always define it as a never type. That's it. Okay, so that's how it actually works, and you would be using never type in those cases where your function never stops, or if you are throwing some error. Okay, that in those cases you actually use the never type. Right, so now guys, we understood this